Everything that happens in this world is created twice. It first happens in the mind, and then it happens in the physical. So the trick to getting ahead, the trick to speeding up the manifestation of your goals, the trick to figuring out the how, getting those aha moments, getting into those creative ideas, is to first get yourself into the energetic state of your goal. All right, what is a realistic goal for you? We often hear this. What's realistic for me? What should I go after? You know, if you've been listening to some of my content, I am all about C-type goals, fantasy goals, goals that go beyond where your imagination even can go at this point. And ultimately, what I sometimes hear back, or what we hear in society, what we hear other people say is, yeah, but you've got to be realistic. Now, that word realistic, it really comes from reality, right? What is realistic for me, where I am, where I live, what I do? And ultimately, we set our own limitations. Now, as you begin on your journey, or possibly you're already further down the journey, or this might be new to you, when you start to think beyond where you've gone before, whether you've achieved goals or whether you've never even started, as soon as you start to entertain an idea that is beyond what you've done, what you've seen, what you've experienced, guess what happens? The mind. It jumps in and it says, but what about this? Where are you going to get the time? Where are you going to get the money? How are you going to do it? A lot of the times, what happens is your paradigm, which is your conditioned beliefs and habits, they pull you. And what you've got to learn is that your desire has got to drive you. So here is the difference between setting goals and achieving goals. Many people limit themselves automatically when they start to think about what they want. Now let me explain why this happens, because actually it's very normal and it happens to everybody. It happens to me, it will happen to you. So we've got to really understand what's happening rather than ignore it. A lot of people, when they start to think about beyond where they've went, the limitations come in and it suffocates it, and we never really get ahead because we can't see how it will be realistic to us. It's so far beyond what we can comprehend as working in your life right now. But the reason that this happens is because I've explained in some videos before, there is a law called the law of polarity, and it states that there is an opposite to everything. So what happens when you, in your mind, and you start to think about what you want, you start to think in possibilities, you start to think beyond your own limitations, you're suddenly thinking on the positive pole of life. You're starting to see possibilities. You're starting to realize, wow, what would I love? But because there's an opposite to everything, it is actually by law, by your own nature, that it is normal for your mind to go, yeah, but here's the opposite to this. Here's the alternative, which is, what if you can't do it? What it's going to be the negative pole, because when you think in the positive, the negative usually shows up. Now, here's the thing about you and about your mind. You can choose. You can decide, am I going to accept this idea that there could be more for me? Or am I going to accept this other idea that's popped into my mind that it's not realistic for me? You've probably experienced this when you've thought about doing something. There's two options. Do it or don't do it. And both have really good, you could sit down and go, well, this is why I should do it. And then you could also very easily make up great reasons of why you shouldn't. You might even be able to look at past experience of when it hasn't worked before. You might be able to look at other people and go, well, it didn't work for them. Or you might hear family or friends say, you might want to be careful. That's what my friends and family told me. But here's the thing. Isn't it strange that sometimes we go for this option? And yet, when we look at the positive, there's also people out there who have demonstrated by results that they've made it work. There's also people out there that will actually support you and show you how to do it. There's also family and friends that actually will believe in you. So actually, when we look at both sides of the camp, there's evidence for both. So the question is, what is it that you decide on? And the bigger question is, which part of you is it that decides? And this is exactly where you can gain your power. You always have two options, always, because everything has two sides of a coin. So it's up to you to decide, do I want to move forward and pursue my goal? Or do I want to step back into safety and stay with the status quo? Stay and just know, well, I can see what I've got and I don't want to lose this. But again, there's a polar opposite to that. There's all that you could gain. There's all that you can't see right now that could be there for you. I can relate to this because that's exactly what happened to me. 6 years ago, I would have loved what I've had, but I couldn't see it. There's some things I've created now and manifested and created in my life that I didn't even think of 6 years ago. But if I had never stopped and made a decision and became aware that I've got choice, that there's always a way to do it and there's always a way that you can't do it, I choose which thought that I go with. Now, I've said over and over, and every scientist, every theologian, anybody that studies success and any top performer will tell you, your thoughts create your reality. So if you ever ask yourself, what's realistic to me? It's always going to come back to the choice that you make. You either develop a consciousness or a thinking pattern to find the ways and see that it's possible, or you choose the thinking patterns that always keep bringing you back to why you can't. This is your critical choice. And this is a choice that must be made in the mind before you ever go out and step and take action. A lot of people don't realize this. And today, I want you to realize that there are ways to do it and there are ways that it won't work. But ultimately, whichever path you take is going to give you that answer. So the reality for you is, if you can see it in your mind, you will hold it in your hand. Something that Bob shared with me that I want to share with you, and it made such an impact when I heard it. He says, Kim, if you've been able to see it in your mind, then it's possible, because you wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't. And the other thing that he said was, if you can see it, then it's yours for the taking. Now, that made a lot of sense to me, because when I started to develop goals, when I started to really dream and think beyond what I thought was realistic for me and my country and my family and my home, I started to realize when I shared that with other people, they didn't get it. Do you know why they didn't get it? Because they didn't see it in their mind. And this was one of the biggest things that helped me break free and take responsibility for my reality. Because I was expecting other people to be as excited as me. I was expecting other people to understand what I could see and what I desired and what I wanted. But they can't, because they're not me. Now, possibly you've experienced this where you've seen something and you've shared it with somebody and they haven't just been as excited. They may not even have said anything negative, but you can tell by their attitude, by their facial expression, they just don't get it. And what I want to share with you today is they don't need to. It's not their goal. It's not their life. It's not their purpose. Today, you have choice. You can see what you want and you can see what you've got. I want you today to realize if you keep going after what you've got, you'll always get what you've gotten. If you want to go after your goals and create a new reality, a new set of limitations, a new set of achievements, then you've got to change your thinking pattern. That'll all depend on what choice you make. So today, choose thoughts that are in harmony with your goal. Choose people to hang around with that are going to support you and lift you up. Or choose not to share your goal with people until you've built up the confidence where their maybe negativity or their perception doesn't annoy you or hold you back. You and only you can see the vision that you can see. And if that vision is still blurry, then that's okay. There's work that can be done. But you first got to decide, am I willing? Am I able? And am I going to make the choice for me, not through other people's opinions? Because your reality will always come down to how you think. So are your dreams and your realities realistic for you? Yes, if you make them part of your reality. I just want to say thank you for watching my videos and the content we have here inside our YouTube channel. Please definitely hit the notification bell and subscribe. But most importantly, have you heard about Inception? Yes, your starting point is here. We have a 2-day live event. It is the highlight of the Dynamite Lifestyle Calendar, where we're going to take you through everything that I've learned over the last 6 years in 2 compact days at a live event here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. You can click the link, grab your ticket, and we've also just launched the live streaming ticket option. So today is your opportunity. If you've been loving some of the content that we've been sharing, you can get access to all of that. There will be replays available. I will be live on stage, and I will take you through an entire process of how you can achieve your goals from your starting point to where you really want to be. Click the link and join us at Inception.